We want to move to reporting now from NBC News. 2 weeks ago, NBC's Julia Ainsley and Jacob Soboroff broke a story about the conditions at a U.S. Border Patrol station in Yuma, Arizona. They obtained more than 24 significant incident reports written by government caseworkers based on what children had described to them being held there. The report included an allegation of sexual assault and retaliation against kids who asked for clean water and food. Julia sat down in an exclusive interview with a Guatemalan boy who was held at the Yuma border facility for 11 days. 17-year-old Abner describes in detail what he went through, including being held in a cell that was so crowded he was forced to sleep standing up, not knowing what time of the day it was because the lights were always on, and not being able to properly drink water.
Cuando nos tocaba que tomar agua en los chorros, pues, no nos daban con qué recibirnos, que con las manos, así todas sucias, y como no nos daban ni siquiera un vasito, ni en algo recibir. Nosotros a veces aunque sea nos lavamos algo las manos porque no teníamos ni con qué lavarnos, ni algún jabón ni nada. Así agarrábamos el agua y lo tomábamos porque no teníamos con qué recibirlo.
And Julia joins us now with more on her new reporting on those conditions inside the Yuma station. Julia, incredible that this continues.
It was, and it was incredible that Abner took the time and had the courage to sit down with us. It is so rare, Mika, to get immigrants to talk to us, especially because they have a fear of being targeted for deportation, and let alone a child. That took an enormous amount of bravery on his part to sit down with us. And of course, that is why we're not showing his face or sharing his last name. But I think what he got into, especially when he talks about his treatment by the guards, shows more than the government has been willing to admit when it comes to the retaliation. He talked about asking what time it was because, of course, he didn't know when the lights were always on, and he was mocked. They said, why, do you have a meeting to get to? He talked about guards yelling at him and other boys if they got too close to the windows, and, of course, being denied food if he needed more. We talked to him about what the soap, the bathing conditions, but he kept going back to food, which is an even more basic human need.
Yo a veces quería comer. Yo quería comer, pero les pedía y ellos no nos daban. Y solo a veces 2 veces nada más nos daban como a las 10 y como a las 5 por ahí. De ahí ya no nos daban nada. Y a mí me daba hambre en las noches y no nos daban y les pedíamos, pero ellos no hacían por darnos. Y había muchos niños pequeños que lloraban por salir. Querían salir ellos también, pero como nadie nos sacaba, no nos sacaban ni siquiera un minuto afuera y nada. Y de ahí muchos niños pequeños sí lloraban ahí porque querían salir. Y de ahí a veces no nos daban a todos comida, solo a algunos. Y entonces a veces unos les daban a veces 2 hamburguesas o algo así. Y entonces a veces le dábamos uno a los pequeños, porque los pequeños eran los que querían comer más que uno.
So, Mika, that perfectly shows you how these older children, the 16, 17-year-olds, had to care for what they called the little ones, the pequeños, because they didn't have the food. He thought that he could stand the hunger. He could stand standing up. He had to stand up for his first 48 hours trying to sleep because they were so concerned about these little children, because the guards weren't taking care of them. And he said when they would cry out, the guards would get more angry. And so the people in his cell had to band together to take care of the little children. Now, I will say that we reached out to DHS and Customs and Border Protection about these allegations. They say they're reviewing it, and any allegations of misconduct would be referred to the Office of Professional Responsibility, but that they don't believe that the time that Abner was there, these 11 days from late May to early June, that the conditions were as he described it. But you can see in perfect detail how he describes them.
Julia, thank you so much for being with us. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up